You never know what is going on in a person's life. From the outside, it may look perfect. I thought that I had the perfect life. I had the corporate job. I had the nice house, a housekeeper once a week, lawn service, was able to go shopping and not worry. The only thing that I needed left, I thought, was kids. And woo, I was happy, right? It was a dream. No, it ends up that life, while there was some good things definitely about it, but it was more of a nightmare for my mental health. Today's video is a little bit different because it's been on my mind and I wanted to share with you not only why I'm doing this channel, what it means, but what I want it to be for myself and for hopefully you. And just to share and hopefully get to know each other a little bit better. If something resonates with you, I hope that you will let me know in the comments. If you don't feel comfortable leaving a public comment, I hope that you will feel comfortable emailing me, or we can chat on IG. Anyway, I've been thinking lately, with all the things going on in the world, I've been having this internal struggle of there's so much stuff. I'm in the US. And is it frivolous to be on here talking about beauty, makeup, skincare, fashion? Is that being selfish or, frivolous? And I realized that a couple of things. It made me realize that one, well, it's not frivolous. And with all the things going on, sometimes we need a place where we can go, where we can just look and talk about pretty things. And that every minute of every day shouldn't probably be consumed with the news and what's going on. So I hope that for both of us, this channel can be a place where maybe a little escapism or, it's not frivolous. And two, I feel like through this channel, and I've always been interested in fashion. I did a whole video about going to school for fashion and all that. If you stay until the end, that video will pop up next. But it's also helped. I started this channel just because I like makeup. I was watching some beauty channels and I was like, hey, I want to try that. But it's become more than that. It's become a thing where I can recognize that I was kind of putting in my head of my corporate job, I was living in the city for a long time. I have still plenty of heels and corporate wear, but that's not my life right now. And adjusting to the changes, trying to adjust to being 48 and figuring out who am I now? Who am I post-divorce? And how, the new me, you know what I mean? I feel like I was trying to kind of go backwards and you can't. So this has helped me realize and kind of reestablish my love of fashion and beauty, regain my confidence. Number 3, I have realized that the thought in my head of oh, this is frivolous, you shouldn't be, talking about this when there's serious things, made me realize, in part of my healing journey, of where that little voice comes from. I mean, it kind of has been on and off my entire life. A lot of people think that fashion is ooh, frivolous or whatever. But it also, I've realized that as corny as this may sound, by doing this channel and kind of taking ownership again of loving fashion and beauty, makeup and all that, and not apologizing for it, is almost giving me confidence and giving me a sense of purpose in a way. And I don't know if this is making sense, but I have been divorced for about 7 years, and I thought, I had OCD pretty much all my life. Probably anxiety. Yes, some level of anxiety. I didn't have my first panic attack until I met my now ex-husband, but I've been kind of mentally beating myself up for like, why am I not back out there dating? Like I've just wasted all these years, and almost feel like the last 7 or so years have been kind of in a holding pattern. Like I've been in my current house since 2020, and it's still not decorated. I have like 2 things on the wall. I just got this shelving that I'm going to put skincare on. But, like I've rearranged my desk. I don't know how many times. It's been like on every wall in this room. And I realized that, where was I going with this? Anyway, it's not been a waste, because when I left that marriage, he asked for the divorce, and I thought my life was going to be over. Like, didn't think I could survive. And I realized that so when I went into that marriage, I was having some anxiety. I was having some, stomach problems from the anxiety. But like I said, I didn't have my first panic attack yet. And then I got on medicine. By the time I left the marriage, I was so anxious, unsure of myself and I'm not blaming it all on him, because it does take 2 people, but I was so anxious that I felt trapped sitting in a drive-through to get food. And I was internalizing all that of like, something's wrong with me. And yes, I played a part in the breakup of the marriage, of course, because I know that I changed from, like everybody changes. Nobody's perfect except for my ex. He thought he was, my ex-husband. But anyway, this is going to be kind of a rambling video, and probably all over the place. So hopefully you'll stick with me. And I wanted to do this video to let you know, if you are feeling alone, isolated, if you have people in your life maybe that make you feel like fashion or your interests are not important, or that you don't stimulate them intellectually because you like fashion and stuff like that. That's not right. And I hope that this will be a safe space for you to always be able to come. And that if you are going through a change where you feel like it's very dark, and will things get better? Will things get easier? I mean, obviously nobody knows, but there is going to be, hopefully, it will get better. I had very dark thoughts, but now I don't have those. Yes, I have bummy days and stuff, but not to that level. So I just thought that I would share a little bit of my story with you, so maybe you can feel like you know me a little bit better. Like I shared in that previous video, that I went to school for fashion, worked in corporate retail, and I have always been like kind of determined, I guess. And I had such a strong sense of self, which maybe it was just because I am young, but even to go to school, my dad didn't want me to go to the city, said he would pay for everything if I didn't, but I knew I wanted to go to Chicago and go to school, so I did. And I feel like along the way, I guess it probably changes with age, but I feel like along the way, that fire, that passion, it kind of got extinguished. And I am hoping that it's not just an age thing, that yes, I can't go back to that and do that exact, but that I'm trying to work on getting that back, if that makes sense, or a new way. And I just want to know that you are not alone, that I am happy you're here, that you are here for a reason and you have a purpose. We all have a purpose. Okay, so in that video, I share the backstory of going to school and all that. I worked in corporate. Well, first I had a job and I got let go after 9/11. So that was understandable. What happened after that, a lot of people lost their jobs. Then I got to where I was working at Claire's in the corporate headquarters, and I loved that job. Thought I was going to retire. Was in their international department, but then they sold it. New owners came in. We had to do this all like full day personality test. And it was quite a few months later. They said that they were doing this so that they could know what skills they needed to, help us with. And I was working, I don't know if I said this, I was working in the international department in inventory management. I think it was Austria, Spain, Portugal. There was another, there was like 4 countries. And I loved it. Well, one day I got called into the office of the HR, and they did not have a box for me in the new organizational chart, which, okay, they were going to give the international department, they were taking it to the UK office. Okay. But the thing is that people who missed work all the time, they were found new positions within the company, and my reviews were always good. So I see that now when I'm looking back, I see that there was I took it as like rejection, and then I feel like I always kind of felt looking back that I was like kind of not part of, like, I don't know. I always, I didn't realize it until recently, but I think when I was looking back, I always felt kind of like, like, why would people like me kind of thing? And this is not fishing for compliments. It's just things that I'm learning. And hopefully if, this might help someone not feel so alone and anyway, so that was, another kind of, I feel like, kind of ding to the self-confidence. Then I went to Sears Holdings and worked for the Kmart division in inventory too. And at this time, I had already met my now ex-husband, was engaged, then got married when I was there, or while I was still working there. And my reviews were good. There was different managers all the time. And I would ask questions. I'm usually a very inquisitive person. And that's one thing that I've learned too, is if you are in a relationship, number one, if you feel little doubts, little things in your head that's like, maybe this isn't the best, like, listen to them. Why do I keep losing my train of thought? That was another thing that I noticed through, which this has been hard to admit. And I've looked up that so I looked up healing from a narcissist relationship. Sorry if anybody that watches my videos is friends or family with my now ex-husband and you don't see it, but sorry. He is a narcissist, and I'm not saying his name, so I feel like I'm just telling my story. And the relationship was toxic, and he was mentally abusive. So I have looked up, ways to heal from that, and one of the things, the first step is to recognize it. And I've always heard that, like, recognize the thing, but really it does make a difference. And yeah, it wasn't the best relationship. And yeah, I left there like mentally much worse. But actually saying it out loud and actually admitting to myself that yes, it was an abusive relationship, emotionally, mentally abusive. And to say that it did happen, I'm not crazy, that it does take time to heal. And just accepting that, I don't know why, but there is something to that. And I was getting better and like getting to where like, I'm going to start dating and stuff. I even started I went to Chicago for a midnight Sprinkles cupcake run. You can get cupcakes from their little ATM, and was starting to manage my anxiety. And then 2020 happened. So I was kind of beating myself up mentally, like, why aren't you dating again? Why are you kind of like letting yourself be in this holding pattern? And I've now realized that if you, like, even if you weren't married, you could have been in a just friend relationship, boyfriend, whatever. But yes, admitting that it was abusive is the first step. And to really treat yourself with kindness and understand that, yes, it is going to take time. A friend sent me a video where actually it changes some things in your brain. Once you've gone through that, there's a part in your brain that controls like the fight or flight thing with the anxiety gets larger, and the one where you make decisions gets smaller. So it like literally changes your brain. But good news, they do say that you can reverse it, which I'm working on. But now looking back, so that was, I was kind of getting a little like self-conscious but at this time I still was asking questions. I'm usually a very inquisitive person, and I know where I was going with that. I've noticed that during the marriage there was like less and less, and I think that is mentally when you just get so beat down, like you quit asking questions. But I was asking questions because things just, there was some weird things, creative accounting and some things. So I was asking questions. Then I was put in the position where I was to hire somebody to report to me. That was the first time that I'd ever hired somebody. And I didn't hire the right one, or the best one, I guess. I thought she was going to be good, but she ended up calling off work all the time. And I think the boss at that time, she saw that as a reflection of me because I hired her, which I can see why. And I should have maybe asked more questions, maybe asked for direction. But so here I am, I go to this place. I start to ask questions. I am told, don't ask so many questions. It's just the way that things are done. Then put in this position, hire somebody, try to do it on my own without asking questions or others' feedback. She ends up not being the best fit. Then I'm being told like to switch around inventory and this stuff, and it doesn't really make sense, but I don't ask questions. I'm getting less and less to where I ask questions. And then it got to where I got wrote up and was told that, well, when I was given the direction to do some inventory stuff, moving of the inventory dollars, that I should have asked more questions. So I was wrote up, eventually fired. So there was another kind of ding to the self-confidence. So now looking back, I can see how I always kind of felt maybe not in the loop, and then all the like those things happen where it shouldn't be a reflection of your self-worth, but I took it at least. And then I get married, and then when I got divorced, I took it as a failure. I didn't have kids. So I'm trying to, fashion and makeup has kind of brought me back, like kind of reignited the spark, if you'll say. I don't know if anyone watching has had that similar thing, or maybe you're going through that right now. And, I was, told that I wasn't, basically that it wasn't smart enough. And another thing that has really been on my mind is, mental health, it gets thrown around. I know that word gets thrown around so much now, but it is so infuriating how people still look at it. So if you have to take medicine for mental health issues, you do. Yes, I realize that it's probably, I don't say probably, some doctors do push it too much. I have been on really high doses of stuff because the doctor just kept, okay, let's just up the dose. But not all doctors are like that, and some people just need the medicine. It is a brain chemistry, something in your brain, and then learning that being in a narcissist relationship and going through that does change part of your brain. Like, hello. And you know what, a narcissist abuse, I didn't really realize exactly because I don't know. I found some of my journals, and we should have never got married. Because I see now how just certain things, like it wasn't out and out, but if you take medicine you're not broken. You're not less than. If you're a woman, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be a mother. You know, that was one of the huge things, was that I was up front at the beginning that I have medicine and stuff, but you know, that I shouldn't be a mother because I was on this medicine, shouldn't get pregnant. But you know, it depends on each individual woman. And anyway, that doesn't really all matter. I'm just trying to give you a backstory, but I wanted to tell you, if you are on medicine, don't let anyone make you feel like you're broken. It just infuriates me because nobody goes to somebody who has high cholesterol and high medicine or high blood pressure and is like, you know what? It's all in your head. You should get off the medicine. You don't need it. You know? So when I first got divorced, I could hardly get out of bed. Like I said, I could hardly go through the drive-thru without feeling trapped and have a panic attack. And it is much more manageable now. Still flares up some. That's how I describe it. But I hope that, I don't know, when I think about playing with makeup and fashion, it brings me a sense of peace, even if it's for a short amount of time. So I hope that this channel can provide that to you as well. I hope that we can connect, even if you haven't gone through a divorce, if you've gone through any life changes, or if you haven't, maybe you can give us, all who have, and maybe if somebody is struggling, you can give us advice on, you know, how to manage midlife is kind of crazy, like going on the second half of your journey, because it's just so different, and having hot flashes, and then like, what is my purpose if you don't have kids? Like, I can see how now if you had kids, like they're your purpose, but it's different, you know? And then just like kind of letting go of your old self in a way, because I feel like everything was so tied up when I was married. Well, even before I was married, I would have theme parties, loved having parties. Then when I got married, we still had theme parties, but it kind of shifted to more his friends. And I do feel bad and have some guilt that I tried to let go of. But when I look back on when things were bad and I was feeling very hopeless and having not good urges, that if I would have acted on them, I wouldn't be here sitting talking to you, but that I never reached out to a friend. And I think that the biggest thing for me, well, there's probably multiple, but in case you have a friend that is struggling, you might not think that this would be necessary to say or important. But if somebody is coming to you, or you are talking, and I'm just sharing my experience. I don't know if this would be everybody, but I feel like a lot of times I didn't reach out and share to anyone because, like, logically I knew that they are my friend or family, that they wouldn't judge me. But when you're in it, it's like you're not thinking logical. So I was worried that I would be judged, and also that I would be like locked up. So I think that if you have a friend who you're like concerned about, or, you know, not even concerned, but just struggling, or they're pulling back, because I know I pulled back from a lot of my friends, you know, maybe just say like, hey, if you want to talk about anything, like, I'm here, and, you know, I'm not going to judge you. Because at least for me, I was spending so much time judging myself on like, why am I not having kids? Why am I not why is my marriage not like all happy roses? Even though I knew it wouldn't be always perfect, but you know, all these things. So you're already judging yourself, and at least I was worried about others judging me. So I know that I pulled back, and I'm hoping to, I think for years after the divorce, I've been focused so much on trying to recreate, kind of go back and recreate, you know, like, and having a hard time figuring out like, what is my place now? Because like I said, I was so determined before I got married. I was determined to go to school in the city and to get a corporate retail job and to get married. But now I feel like I've lost that determination, but it's slowly coming back. Okay, if you are over the age 40, maybe, I don't know, 30, I don't know. After college, let's just say that. Did you feel like you lost some of that spark, some of that determination? Is it because of age, or is it maybe age and combination of life, what happens in your life? Anyone? Because I think that I can get that back, and I'm like slowly feeling like I am, and I feel like this channel is really helping me do that. You know, I think one of the important things of kind of healing is to gain your self-esteem back, because the thing that, you know, with like the narcissist abuse or mental abuse, they don't have to be narcissists, is you do start to second guess your every decision. And so getting back that sense of like, no, I can make this decision and I don't need to depend on them. And, you know, just, yeah. And that you're not broken, that everything isn't your fault. So I'm just going to try to enjoy my life and, you know, not apologize for loving the things that I do and being passionate. When I was married, I would put holes in the sheets. Okay, this is, as anyone else, near my feet, there, I went through like 2 or 3 pairs or sets of sheets because I would put holes in them. And one time I asked my husband at the time, I was like, what, like, do you know what's going on? And so one time he was watching, woke up when I was sleeping, and he said that I was like moving my feet. And he's like, it was so weird because how you were laying, you shouldn't have been, but like moving my feet. So I guess my subconscious was trying to escape, because that hasn't happened since, like after the divorce. He was the one who asked for the divorce. And like I said, I thought my world was over, but thankfully he asked for that divorce. If I saw him now, I'd say thank you for asking for that divorce, because mentally, maybe not financially, not the best, but mentally, the best decision, the best thing that could have happened. But yeah, and then I always had dreams about my teeth falling out, and it would be like, I would wake up from this dream and like cough. There would be no blood, or like in my dream, no blood or anything, but just my teeth would keep falling out of my mouth. Has anyone had that? I looked it up, and it says that it could mean that you don't feel in control of your life, which anxiety is about being out of, like, worrying about being out of control or not in control, I think is tied into it a lot. So I had that, and it seemed like there was something else. Yeah, I would have these dreams too of like blood flowing from my arms, and it was just, it's crazy how the mind is, because like I don't have those, I haven't had one of those since the divorce, since I moved out. And it's just, it's nuts. But yeah, if you have recovered or healed from a narcissist relationship, I would love to know any tidbits that you have. And yeah, I'm forgiving myself for it being so many years. And I feel like I'm now just really wrapping my head around it. Like before, I think that I was so focused on, well, running my own business, that for the first couple of years after the divorce, I didn't really have, like, everything I resell online for full time on eBay and Posh, and everything was devoted to getting that back up and running. So, and then I was working on trying to like just get to where I could go out to eat and not freak out. And then 2020 happened. And so now I feel like I'm actually like doing the work of figuring out like why I put up with that and like how I got into that. And, you know, so I don't repeat that. But I would eventually like to start dating and find somebody. I don't know. It seems very overwhelming now to think about. So have you had that where, okay, so number one, have you recovered from any kind of mental abusive toxic relationship? And I do know one of the things that for sure I can see a difference in is when I first moved back to the area, I would say I'm sorry for everything. Like everything. It wasn't my fault. It had nothing, like not even something you would say you're sorry for. And I'd be like, oh, sorry. And I told my mom, I'm like, I want to stop saying it because like it doesn't make sense. And it's just is kind of reiterating, you know, a negativity in my head. So she would point it out. And now I don't say that. Like I'll say sorry if I have something to be sorry about, but not just, you know, for everyday things. So that has improved. And yeah, I know that to overcome feeling isolated, feeling lonely, I know that I need to reach out to people, but I can't be the only one. I know I'm not the only one because I've seen like little memes how you want to make plans, but then when the plans come, you're like, I just want to stay at home. But yeah, I just, it's such an isolated world, I feel like now, and you can be in a room full of people and still feel lonely. So I do hope that you can come here, and even if it's for just a couple times a week, you know, that we can chit chat in the comments, and or you can reach out to me and you maybe not feel so alone in this world, and know that you are not broken, you are not less than. If you need to take medicine, even if you don't have to take medicine, if you have mental illness issues, yeah, you're not broken. And yeah, you can improve if you want to improve on yourself and make things more manageable, but you're not broken. I felt like I should share maybe a little bit of who I am, why I'm doing this channel, and I wasn't sure exactly what all to share because I don't know. I always feel like when people say like, you know, everybody has life experiences, and I'm realizing as I'm researching more that being out of a mentally abusive relationship is a form of trauma. But I feel like I have a hard time admitting that because to me, when somebody has trauma, it's like Law and Order, you know, style of something happened to them, that kind of thing, or that it's physical abuse. So yeah, just admitting that it is something real, and it does take time to heal from, and to give myself grace and give yourself grace if you are going through something. And I think that, I don't know, I feel like I could probably ramble on for a while, but I don't know what else to really say. I would love to know if you like this style of video, or if you're like, okay, just get back to the fashion and makeup, please. I won't be offended either way. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to share, wanted to hopefully connect a little bit more, tell you you're not alone. I'm not alone in this world. You can always reach out. And yeah, hopefully this will be a place where we can get together a couple times a week and just focus on the fun, beautiful, pretty things that there are. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.